Good evening. Let us make a gentle appointment with grace, not an ordeal, not a proving ground, an appointment. 10 minutes, one mantra, anxiety loosens. That is the offer. We will not argue with anxiety. We will not arm wrestle it. We will not dress it up with noble names and then bow before it. We will retire into a small, loving boundary where grace, not argument, does the work. Be still and know that I am God. Not be frantic, not be clever, not be persuasive. Be still. I speak of this with the calm that comes only from witnessing. If I hadn't seen these 10-minute appointments change rooms, households, and hearts, if I hadn't sat with men and women in 5 countries and watched fear wither for lack of attention, I would not be so sure. But I have, and I am. There is only one power. If that is so, then anything appearing as a second power, no matter how loud, must be starved. Not by resistance, but by non-recognition. This little container is the fast it cannot endure. Here is all we are undertaking. Set 10 minutes apart from the traffic of your day. 10 minutes circled with love, as you would circle a child in a storm. Within that circle, take one living sentence to heart. God's grace is my sufficiency now, not later, not if conditions comply, not if I am good enough. Now, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Let that word be the atmosphere, the gentle climate of this interval. We will not reason with symptoms. We will not bargain with shadows. We will acknowledge the one and let the one acknowledge us. Do you see what a kindness this is? The mind that loves to tangle itself in knots is not invited to the appointment. It may pace outside. It may send notes under the door, but it is not on the guest list. We are establishing a clear, bounded, and safe space. A holy interruption in which nothing is asked to perform and everything is permitted to rest. The surgeon's knife has its place, but here we take the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and we hold it not like a weapon, but like a shepherd's staff. We lean. We are supported. A mother wrote me once from a small coastal village. This is not a parable, but a simple human letter. I cannot stop the stomach from twisting, she said. I cannot stop the news. I asked her to commit to this. 10 minutes each dawn before the kettle sang. Say nothing but the mantra. Admit no guest but grace. She did. On the 4th morning, an odd quiet arrived, not fireworks, not thunder, and in a nod, as if the sea itself had settled a fraction. She wrote again, I cannot explain it, but I can breathe without permission. Do you hear the miracle? No argument won, no dragon slain. Simply, the non-power of fear deprived of your consent, and the omnipresence of the one felt as breath. So we begin here not with debate, but with demonstration. Not with promises of future attainment, but with a present reliance. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Let these 10 minutes become your sanctuary, not your courtroom. Let them be a pattern interrupt for the world's hypnosis, a small Sabbath nested inside the common day. Turn to the Spirit for everything. React only to the Spirit. And if your mind asks, will this work for me? I answer gently, do not ask me. Test and see. Sit once today. Sit once tomorrow. Sit as a willing witness, not a prosecuting attorney. If in those minutes you feel only the refusal to argue, good. If in those minutes you sense a weight set down, wonderful. If in those minutes nothing seems to happen at all, Better still, because we are learning to rely on what is invisible, intangible, yet more real than all appearances. There is only one power. Our 10-minute appointment is our way of turning toward it and away from the parade of effects. In that turning, without strain, anxiety begins to loosen by grace, not by struggle. And from then on, it isn't difficult. Now let us name what prowls at the edge of our 10 minutes, not to dignify it, but to withdraw our tribute. Fear grips the world. You can hear it in the cough behind you in the queue. See it in the headline that walks you to bed. Feel it in the tremor that runs through the office when someone whispers, restructuring. Fear at the borders, papers, patrols, and suspicion. Fear in the homes, rent, due, a child late past curfew, the word scan on a doctor's form. Fear in the fields, weather that will not obey calendars. Fear in the shops, shelves full today. What of tomorrow? Fear, 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 from one end of the world to the other. A climate, a mesmerism, a fog. But now listen with the inner ear. This fear is not your private possession. You did not invent it. You do not own it. You are not responsible to feed it. It is a universal suggestion, what I call the world's hypnosis. It arrives like weather, not like identity. It says, I am your thought. It lies. It is not your thought. It is not your nature. It is not in your blood, nor in your nerves, nor in your family history. It is an impersonal current passing through human belief. If I say to you, do not take it personally, I am not trying to console you with semantics. I am describing the way out. As long as you cradle it as yours, you will feel obliged to wrestle it. The moment you recognize impersonal mesmerism, you can let it pass unentertained. Be not afraid, for I am with thee. Do you hear? Not be not afraid because you are strong, but because I am with thee. There is only one power. Fear is not a power. It has no law, no life, no principle to sustain it. Its only seeming power is the attention you grant, the consent you sign with the ink of your belief. Think of a shadow on the wall, vivid in shape, dramatic in posture, but nothing you can take in your hands. If you strike at it, you tire yourself and bruise the plaster. If you turn on the light, the shape evaporates without a struggle. This is our posture. We do not fight shadows. We turn toward the light within. Perfect love casteth out fear, not human fondness, not the effort to think nice thoughts, but the felt presence, the infinite invisible that is love itself. When that is acknowledged, fear has no room to perch. So, smile at it. I do not mean derision, bravado, or moral superiority. I mean the smile of non-consent, the visible sign of an inward no to a non-power. If a wave slaps at your ankles on the shore, you need not file a legal brief against the tide. You simply know what it is, and you stand where the rock is. The smile is that knowing. It says, thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. And we know that nothing destructive has been given from above. Let me tell you of a young accountant, a quiet man, who wrote that every audit season his chest closed like a fist. I dread the ding of my email, he said, as if each chime were a summons to judgment. I asked him to do just this. When the chime comes, do not steel yourself, do not defend. Smile softly and say within, once, not as magic, but as acknowledgement, God's grace is my sufficiency now. Then go about your work. He did. He did not conquer the inbox. He did not conquer the clients. He simply ceased to grant fear the dignity of power. 3 days later, he wrote, "The chimes still chime, but they do not call my name. This is not a victory march. It is a release." The burden slid because the shoulder offering itself was no longer yours, but the Christ within, the I that says, "It is I, be not afraid." Withdrawing assent precedes relief. Do not wait for fear to quiet before you trust. Trust and let fear discover it has no footing. We are not crowding it out with louder arguments. We are not bargaining with it or painting it a friendlier color. We are starving it by refusing to serve it our lifeblood of attention. This is why a gentle smile is so potent. It keeps you from bracing. When you brace, you make fear your equal, and you duel. When you soften into reliance, you simply step out of the ring. Be still and know that I am God. Not be tense and prove. Be still and know. From now on, when fear walks into the room, health, work, borders, homes, greet it as you would a gust of wind. You might close a window. You might put a book over a page. But you do not accuse the wind of having moral agency. You do not confer power. You do not make it personal. You return silently to the one. There is only one power. In that recognition, the leverage of fear is gone. It has nothing to hold. And from then on, it isn't difficult. If fear has no power, what then governs? There is only one power, not two, not a contest of equals. One. The power is spiritual, inward, what I have called the infinite invisible. The kingdom of God is within you. Do not push that line away as poetry. Make it the cornerstone of your day. Within you, not outside you. Within now, not later. He hangeth the earth on nothing, and yet this earth does not fall. It rests in a law unseen, an order no hand can measure. So with your life. It is not held by the scaffolding of human schemes, but by the invisible presence that is life itself. You may not see it with eyes, nor hear it with ears. You may feel it as a hush, a warmth, an authority that does not shout. When acknowledged, it discloses itself as sufficiency. When ignored, it remains what it is. But we live as if orphaned. Do not imagine that this power is in capitals, or vaults, or laboratories, or even in the latest very clever argument of the mind. Is material power the solution? Bigger and more bombs of effort, sterner wills, tighter schedules, thicker locks? The answer is no. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. We put on spiritual armor, not material armor. We take the sword of the Spirit, not the surgeon's knife. I do not say this to take sides or to speak against instruments that have their place in this world of effects. I say it so that you do not confuse instrument with cause-effect with power. The moment you look to steel or strategy as savior, you have placed your reliance upon the shadow and turned your back to the light. Turn back. Face the light within. All causative efficacy is within. This is not flattery. It is physics of the spirit. The outer life events, reports, pulses, and prices is effect. The inner recognition God realized as the very life of you is cause. Think of a room in darkness. We could fight the darkness with broom and fist. We could rebuke it, analyze it, organize committees against it, or we could touch the switch. The darkness is not a power in conflict with the lamp. It is absence that flees the presence of light. So, with fear and the chain of effects, do not spend your life sweeping shadows. Touch the switch. In him we live and move and have our being. Live there, move there, have your being there. Then let the visible follow its rightful place as witness, not as master. I speak with this assurance because I have watched again and again that a simple turning, an interior nod, alters the climate of a home, a body, a ledger. If I hadn't witnessed this for years across countries and conditions, I would not stand before you with such peace. A foreman wrote me, I stopped trying to force the line to flow. I stood 5 minutes behind a pillar and remembered God's grace is my sufficiency now. I went back, and what was jammed had loosened. Who loosened it? Not his new technique. Grace. One power recognized, and the shadows rearranged themselves. This is the identity shift required. You are not a small self pitted against large forces. One with God proves to be a majority, not over other people, but over the pretense of a second power within your own being. You may walk alone down a corridor, and yet you are not alone. I and my Father are one, not two, one. When that is felt even as a mustard seed, the scale tips. The heart ceases to shop for saviors among effects. It abides in cause. From then on, it isn't difficult, because you are no longer trying to lift the world with your shoulders. You are consenting to the government that already rests upon his shoulder. So turn from effects to the single inward power. Close the outward eye for a few quiet minutes and open the inward ear. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Not later now. In that stillness, you are not manufacturing anything. You are witnessing the fact that God's grace is your sufficiency now. Let the infinite invisible be the place you live from, and let the visible be the place that reports it. There is only one power. Acknowledge it within, and watch what the shadows must do. Grace is not a wage you earn after a hard day's convincing. Grace is the unearned, operative presence that accomplishes of itself. It is not a mood, not a moral grade, not a merit badge pinned to your chest when you have behaved well enough. It is the life that is life, moving quietly, unhurriedly within you, as air moves through the garden and makes all things sway without your command. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Do you hear the arithmetic of heaven? Not your strength perfected by more striving, but his strength revealed as sufficiency when we cease to press. We do not force calm. We consent to grace's sufficiency now. This is our reorientation. We have been taught to grind, clench the jaw, hold the breath, tighten the schedule, and produce serenity as if it were an invoice-laden product leaving a factory. That is not serenity. That is fear doing push-ups. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. If I say relax, I do not mean collapse. I mean yield. Yield your imagined sovereignty over outcomes. Yield the fantasy that anxiety pays for tomorrow's bread. It does not. The living does not come by terror or by tension. The living comes by grace, peace included. Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin, and yet they are arrayed. If creation is so dressed without a stitch of your effort, what do you suppose peace is, that you must manufacture it with the looms of thought? I am willing to put it on an if basis, because I know some of you still ask, but will this work for me? I am willing to say, if you will consent only, that if you will consent for 10 quiet minutes to rely on grace rather than on argument, to sit within and let the mantra have the field, you will discover an operation taking place that is not your doing. The leaves will move and you will not have blown the wind. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Grace has been knocking while you were hammering at the hinges. Open, and you will find the room already furnished. Scarcity is a hypnosis that whispers. There won't be enough of money, of time, of breath, of mercy. Its cousin is compulsion. Hurry, or you will be late to your own life. Both are false prophets. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Give you, not sell you at a price of worry paid in installments. When the mind tightens and offers you its old bargain, your attention in exchange for a moment's shaky controlled decline, anxiety is a day laborer that lives on the wages of your attention. Stop paying it. Let it wait at the gate while you go inside to where the feast is. In this way, anxiety loosens, not by wrestling it to the mat, but by finding no employer. A nurse wrote me from an urban ward, nights, alarms, a corridor of needs. By midnight, she said, I feel hunted by tasks. My heart sprints, though I am standing still. I did not tell her to work slower or to become a philosopher on the clock. I asked her to take her break and give 10 minutes to grace. Sit, breathe, and silently, once with each out-breath, God's grace is my sufficiency now. No bargaining, no promises. She wrote back that the monitors did not become quieter, but the atmosphere did. The same corridor, she said, but I was not hunted. I was carried. Patients who always rang twice, rang once. A colleague who snapped every hour did not snap. Did she control them? No. The one presence revealed a sufficiency that spilled over the edges. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. This is not an insult to your effort. It is a rescue from futility. Do your work? Yes. Keep your appointments? Yes. But shift the weight. Lean into the sufficiency of grace first now, and let the visible fall in line. In our 10-minute appointment, we are not earning relief. We are receiving what is already true. God's grace is our sufficiency in all things. Say it once, mean it once, then rest. Let the sword of the Spirit part the net you thought you must gnaw through with your teeth. Relief comes as gift, not as wage. It is given now. Consent, and behold. Silence is not emptiness. It is method. We are making a conscious transition from the visible to reliance on the invisible, and silence is the bridge. Words can point, only silence reveals. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, not in debate, not in bravado, in quietness. We are not going to argue with thoughts. We are going to withdraw the tribunal. We are not going to educate fear. We are going to stop tutoring it with attention. This is a surprising use of the sword of the Spirit. Not a clashing steel, but a sheathing of the tongue, a laying down of mental weaponry until presence announces itself. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know those are the steps. Stillness is the method. Knowing is the fruit. Consider the paradox we have already trusted all our lives. He hangeth the earth on nothing. This globe, with its oceans and markets and midnights, does not fall because an invisible law sustains it. So with your life rested on the unseen, let the same law carry you that carries the world. If you demand the peg you can touch, you will live in the fear of dropping. If you consent to the arm you cannot see, you will discover it was never your grip that kept you. Silence is that consent. It is your way of saying, without speech, I accept the governance of what cannot be measured. Do not teach this to your thoughts. Do not make a classroom in the mind and hold forth with chalk and diagrams. Don't preach to yourself. Don't explain to yourself. Practice it silently. This is why our 10-minute container has such clarity. We do not overlay the practice with commentary. Let the inner screen be clean. On-screen mantra, only one line, one light. God's grace is my sufficiency now. No subtitles, no news ticker, no evaluation bar creeping across the bottom. The mind will volunteer footnotes. Decline them. The mind will offer applause or criticism. Receive neither. You are not the commentator. You are the witness to presence. I have found again and again that the more quietly we sit, the more efficiently grace acts. We are beyond the reach of our own cleverness here, and thank God for it. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Might and power in this case include your very good ideas. Lay them down. The sword of the Spirit is keen enough to part belief from being without your pressure. One sentence, inwardly acknowledged, one silence, faithfully kept, and the submerged rock of presence begins to be felt beneath the waves of thought. You will notice it not as fireworks, but as a simple shift. The compulsion to fix recedes. The permission to be carried appears. From then on, it isn't difficult. It is different. Please understand, silence is not passivity. It is poise. It is the posture of one who refuses to feed a second power by chatter. When you refrain from argument, you are not abandoning the field. You are yielding it to the one who already holds it. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. That is method. Hold your peace. Not clench it, hold it. Let the mantra be the single banner raised within, and then let the king do his own governing. So when you come to the practice, come as to a sanctuary. Close the door literal if you can, inward if you must. Sit as you are, breathe as you must. Say only the sentence. When thoughts parade, do not police them. Simply do not join the parade. Return, return, return. Remember, we are employing silence to reveal what sentences can only salute from afar. There is only one power. Let the unspeaking heart bow before it. Let the mind stand aside for 10 short minutes, and you will find softly, undramatically, that fear, finding no partner in debate, loosens by itself, while grace, finding no obstruction, supplies sufficiency now. Now to the tool itself, not as a charm, but as a key. You press lightly so that the door swings of its own accord. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Take it slowly and let us hear what it says. God's grace, this name's source. Not human optimism, not personal virtue, not the luck of the draw, but the unearned, unopposed activity of the one. Is this name's fact? Not hope, not shall be if I behave, but being already established. My sufficiency, this name's identity, not scarcity, not almost enough, but the very enoughness of being as the life of you. Now this name's immediacy. not the furrow, not someday when I am holy, but present tense, presence. Read it as scripture written on the inner page. The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. Put it there. Speak it there. Let it speak you. Understand me? This is not an incantation. We are not jingling syllables like keys on a ring, hoping one might fit. We are not bargaining with the sky. We are acknowledging the one power. The sentence is a finger pointing. The moon is the presence to which it points. If you clutch the finger, you miss the moon. If you follow the finger, you discover light. So when you repeat it, repeat as acknowledgement, not as attempt. Thy word is truth, not persuasion truth. Hold it lightly. A bird will sit in your open palm and fly from your fist if the mind wanders, and it will do not scold it. Return unto thy rest, O my soul, and return you shall. Smile inwardly and pick up the thread where it dropped no drama, no ledger of failures. The mantra is not a whip, it is a staff. Lean on it. Let it remind you, not drive you. Each return is the practice. Each return is grace having its way through your willingness. I have found it useful to marry it to the breath, not as compulsion, but as a gentle yoke that fits on the in-breath. God's grace is, on the out-breath, my sufficiency now. In, source, and fact. Out, identity, and immediacy. In, the giver. Out, the gift given. Do not force rhythm. Receive it. He breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Let breath carry word. Let word bless breath. If the timing tangles, let it go for a few breaths and then quietly rejoin. This is a river, not a metronome. Keep to one sentence. Depth over variety. Presence over novelty. Do not graze across phrases as if a buffet could nourish the soul more than bread. One loaf is enough if it is living bread. Give us this day our daily bread, and the daily bread can be one line that you chew with the heart. A student once sent me a list of 12 affirmations, admirable in intention but busy as a market lane. I asked her to put them all away for 7 days and keep only this one. On the third day, she wrote, the crowd in my head has gone home. The house is quiet, and someone is here. One sentence made room for presence. The many sentences made room for argument. Let the words mean themselves. Don't add embroidery. Don't explain them to yourself. Be the soil, not the weather. As you sit, let the seed fall. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Let it rest. Let it root without your digging. If thoughts knock, thank them for coming and do not open the door. If emotions rise, let them rise the way mist rises off a field at dawn noticed, not negotiated. Keep the mantra near the heart, not on the tip of the tongue. It is better to say it once and know than to say it 50 times and doubt. This single living sentence anchors awareness in what already is. It does not purchase supply. It reveals sufficiency. It does not chase away fear with noise. It withdraws your consent from a second power by quietly knowing the first. So sit with it as you would sit with a friend who needs no chatter to prove the bond. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Say it once. Mean it once. Let the silence confirm it. Then let the minutes carry you where words cannot go, while the one power, acknowledged, arranges the rest. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Let them follow. You need only walk lightly, inwardly, behind this one line. Now, Prepare the sanctuary. Enter into thy closet. And when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Make a small closet of 10 minutes wherever you are. We are not seeking stained glass. We are seeking a clear intention. Sit upright, yet at ease. Dignity without stiffness. Repose without collapse. Let the spine be a staff, not a spear. Shoulders easy. Hands resting where they can forget themselves on the lap or lightly over the heart. Feet grounded as if to say, here I am. Eyes soft or closed, not clenched. We are not peering into darkness. We are consenting to light. This is a sanctuary, not a courtroom. Let the room agree with you. Phone off. Not on, whisper. Off. Close the door if there is a door. If there is none, close the inward door by a simple word within. Now. Set a bell. A gentle chime to open and a gentle chime to release. If you have no bell, you can make breath your bell. One deep breath to begin, one deep breath to close. But if a timer is near, use it, and then do not touch it again. Let your loins be girded about, and your lights burning. Preparedness without fidgeting. The timer stands as your steward. You need not check the minutes. You need not bargain with them. Trust the appointment. Let the minutes be the servants of grace, not the masters of your attention. Before you begin, place a small smile on the face. Not a performance, not cheerleading, not denial. A gentle curve that says, I am not bracing. It is the body's amen. It is consent to grace. Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. That is the smile's language. It refuses to arm wrestle shadows. It signals to the nervous system, to the room, to the very air. I take no second power as adversary. I rest in the one. You will find that this simple gesture keeps you from the old grip of the jaw and the fist around the heart. It is hard to harden while you are smiling softly, and that softness permits the sword of the Spirit to do its own quiet dividing without your push. Mark the boundary. For 10 minutes, we take no sides in the arguments of the world. This is not a work of attributing virtue to any human method or fault to another. We do not make speeches for or against medicine, for or against budgets, for or against policies. This is not taking sides. This is making the conscious transition from dependence on the visible to reliance on the invisible. After the bell, you will do what prudence and love require. Make the call, keep the appointment, pay the bill, wash the hands. But in the 10 minutes, we will react only to the Spirit. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Rule, not consult. Rule. There is only one power. State your intention within. Simply, for these minutes I rely on grace alone. I do not argue. I do not plead. I do not fix. I witness. Then do as we have said. Eyes soft, breath unhurried, mantra near the heart. If a knock comes at the door of thought, memories, worries, clever answers do not rise to open. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. The earth here is the clamoring of appearances. Let it keep silence before him. You are not snubbing life. You are honoring life. A simple, reverent setup invites what effort cannot manufacture. You are setting a table, not cooking the meal. You are lighting a lamp, not forcing the dawn. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Confidence does not shout. It sits upright. It smiles. It keeps a boundary. It bows when the bell begins. and it rises when the bell releases. From then on, it isn't difficult, it is faithful. And in that fidelity, the heart discovers that the sanctuary was not in the room at all, it was in the reliance. When the bell sounds, simply bow within and let the inner screen hold a single line without debate. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Do not polish it. Do not test it. Acknowledge it. Let the mind sit down. Let the heart stand up. The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. Allow it to be so. If there is a breeze at the cheek or a hush in the chest, do not chase it. Let it pass through. These first moments are nothing but arrival. You are not behind. You are not late. You are here. Now marry the phrase to breath, lightly, as a leaf rests on water. On the in-breath, God's grace is. On the out-breath, my sufficiency now. In, source and fact. Out, identity and immediacy. No forcing, no pacing. Receive the air as gift and let the words ride. Peace, be still. If rhythm stumbles, let it. Breathe once or twice without words, then quietly resume. The practice is gentleness. The practice is consent. If thoughts crowd the doorway, tasks, names, headlines, smile at them as kindly as you would at children who have come too early to the party and without opening the door. Return to the sentence. Return without announcement. Return without scolding. Return unto thy rest, O my soul. Let that be your only reply. Thoughts are not intruders to wrestle. They are weather to notice and release. Each return is a fresh beginning, and beginning is all that is asked in these minutes. Soften what clenches. Let the jaw unhook, the shoulders slide down, the hands forget their old habit of making fists. Place the tongue gently on the roof of the mouth or let it fall. Either way, cease the whisper of fixing, unknit the brow. Let the belly be a soft bellows. Sit as if held. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Behold, do not fix. Witness the breath coming and going of itself while the sentence keeps watch at the door of the heart. God's grace is my sufficiency now. There is no measurement here, no meter, no grade. Do not examine yourself. Do not speed toward results. Abide in these first moments as you would sit in a friend's home, coat off, shoes by the door. Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things, but one thing is needful. The one thing is arrival. Let the bell that began also be the bell within that says enough striving, for now you have come. Stay, breathe, behold, let the minutes open like a gate and walk through unhurried, nothing missing, nothing to fix, only presence, quietly sufficient, quietly near, quietly governing these beginnings now. Now the gate has opened. We are in the middle meadow, where staying is the work. Abide. Keep the center clear. Let a single line remain on the inner screen as your quiet banner. There is only one power. Therefore, keep the mantra at the heart, and let the breath carry it without strain. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Not many things. One thing. Not many powers. One power. Each time the mind leans away, set it back as you would set a vase again upon its stand. Without comment, without blame, simply write it. Anxiety will try pictures. It will sketch what might befall. It will throw little theaters upon the wall of mind. Do not attend the show. Withdraw your assent. Whisper not to the screen, but within yourself. Thou hast no power. Not to insult appearances. Not to deny that there are storms and bills and diagnoses in the realm of effect. but to deny a second power. Be still and know that I am God. Knowing does the dissolving. Be still and know. And when knowing wavers, return to the sentence that knows for you. God's grace is my sufficiency now. One power, one sufficiency, one now. Make it simple. Notice, return, release, repeat. Notice the tug. Return to the line, release the picture, repeat as needed. No drama, no tally. Return unto thy rest, O my soul, and the soul knows how. This is not resistance. It is refusal to feed. You are not wringing the neck of a thought. You are ceasing to pour life into it. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Let the earth of rumination keep silence before him. You are seated in the temple now. The parade may go by in the street, but the sanctuary keeps its quiet law. Feel for presence, but do not chase sensation. We are not collecting goose flesh. We are not auditioning for visions. Presence is most often the unadvertised ease that takes the weight off the chest, the soft authority that says, without syllables, enough. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, not as adrenaline, not as argument, not as a deal. A subtle okayness that needs no reason is grace's handwriting upon the heart. If nothing is felt, do not diagnose the silence. Silence itself is the sign that you have withdrawn the noise by which fear was paid. Rest now in what cannot be seen, heard, tasted, touched, or smelled. He hangeth the earth on nothing. Can he not hang this moment on himself? Live through that which is invisible. Let the breath move. Let the sentence glow. Let the unseen bear the seen. For in him we live and move and have our being. In him, not in outcomes, in sufficiency, not in scarcity. Each time the mind demands evidence, smile and give it the only evidence that matters in these minutes. Obedience to the one. Hold your peace. Let the Lord fight for you. This is not passivity. This is reliance. This is transfer of jurisdiction from the court of effects to the government of cause. And so we continue quietly, return, release, repeat. The heavy lifting is not yours. If I had not watched the atmosphere of whole rooms change when one person abided like this, I would not speak so firmly. But I have watched. From then on, it isn't difficult. It is faithful. Keep the banner aloft within. There is only one power. Keep the mantra central. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Let grace do what grace alone can do. These last minutes are for loosening. Place a gentle smile upon the face, not to deny the weather, but to refuse to fear it. Smile at the waves. Fear is not a power. It is a picture on the surface, not a law at the depths. Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? There is only one power. Let the body read your smile as a benediction. Jaw easy, brow smooth, hands soft. The heart hears that small curve and understands, I am not bracing, I am being carried. Now let the mantra thin like mist until it becomes a felt knowing. Hear without syllables. Keep it close, but give it air. If the sentence wants to rest as a quiet glow instead of a spoken thread, let it rest. Wordless stillness is not a lapse. It is the fruit. Perfect love casteth out fear. Perfect here does not mean loud. It means complete. Let completeness be present without insistence. Let the hush do its own holy work. If In these minutes, urgency spikes, an old alarm rings, a story crowds the doorway. Do not wrestle. Don't argue. Lift the staff again with quiet certainty. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Say it once, as you would set a lamp upon a table, and then let it shine without tending. Return the smile. Return the breath. Return the knowing. As you stop feeding fear, it loosens. Grace quietly holds the field. Notice how thoughts, finding no partner, tire themselves. Notice how the room takes on a gentler weather. Not a miracle of fireworks, but a shift of government from effect to cause. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Hold it lightly. Let the mantra hover at the heart like a bird at rest. Let silence be the branch that supports it. No reaching, no measuring, only presence. If nothing seems to happen, smile anyway. The smile is your confession of one power. If depth arrives, smile and do not label it. If tears rise, let them rise the way rain beads and slides from a leaf. No commentary, no verdict. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Let them follow. You do not chase them around the field. You stand where you are, and they arrive of themselves. When the closing bell sounds, bow within as if tipping your hat to a friend. Do not speak aloud. Whisper thanks without words. The heart knows how. Gratitude is acknowledgement, not effort. Rise slowly, but do not touch the afterglow. Do not grade it. Do not explain it to yourself. Let signs follow. Do not force them. Carry the quiet as you would carry a full cup, steady, unadvertised, unspilled. From then on, it isn't difficult. It is faithful. And the faithfulness is this: fear, unfed, fades. Grace, recognized, governs now. Now, when the bell is faded and you stand with the full cup, the mind will try to seize it. It will reach for rulers and ledgers. It will ask, how did I do? Did I do enough? Resist that magistrate within. Do not put the spirit on trial. Do not argue with results. Honor what occurred without grasping it. Let signs follow. Do not force them. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. We sought first. The adding is not our work. What then do we notice? Not fireworks, not a score, subtle metrics only, and they are enough. The breath easier than it was a quarter hour ago enough. The shoulders not climbing toward the ears enough. More room inside the chest enough. A quiet willingness to face the next phone call without an inner flinch enough. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world gives explanations and charts. Grace gives the unadvertised ease that needs no story. Do not interrogate it. Do not narrate it into pieces. Let it be. Stand as witness, not as superintendent. Outcomes follow consciousness. We do not chase effects. We abide in cause. These signs shall follow them that believe. Follow, not lead. When you turn and chase a sign, you reverse the order and lose your peace. Walk on with your face toward the invisible. Let the visible come along in its own time. First the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. Do not dig up the field to count the roots. Keep faith with what you just practiced. Hold your peace and let the Lord govern what grows. If you keep a journal, let it be one sentence only, and let that sentence bear witness to grace, not to you. Write what grace did, not what you did. Not I sat so well, not I failed at minute 5, not I mastered the mantra. One sentence that acknowledges the giver. Ease appeared in my breath, or the knot in my stomach loosened, or courage to make the call was present. That is testimony, not tally. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do. Note his work, not yours. Do not phone a friend to report a grade. Do not post the glow upon the public wall of appetite. The afterglow is not a trophy. It is a trust. Carry it quietly as you would carry a sleeping child. No jostling, no display. In a few minutes you will move on to the next task, but do not barter away what came. Keep a soft inward yes to the presence. If a contrary wind rises, smile and remember, there is only one power. Return to the sentence once, lightly, and then proceed. This is how signs accumulate, without strain, by reliance, not by rehearsal. I would not speak this way if it had not borne fruit among many. If I had not watched faces change without speeches, rooms soften without arguments, decisions uncoil without analysis. If I had not watched a machinist in Pittsburgh go back to work unafraid, a mother in Auckland sleep through the night after months of vigil, a teacher in Lisbon stand before her class without the old quake, I could not sit here so confidently, but I have witnessed it again and again, all over this world. When we withhold power from fear and acknowledge the one power within, life rearranges itself without our pushing, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. The rearranging is the sign, the spirit is the cause. So let the afterglow be what it is, a fine mist upon a field at dawn. Do not chase it. Walk in it. Do not measure it. Receive it. If it fades, do not mourn. If it deepens, do not boast. Keep your eyes where they belong, on the invisible that gave it. From then on, it isn't difficult, it is faithful. Abide in the simple sufficiency you just acknowledged. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Let that sentence do its quiet governance and allow life to bear witness in its own time. By their fruits ye shall know them. Fruits, not grades. Signs, not demands. Presence, not performance. Carry the cup into the street. Let the invisible be first in the places where you are most tempted to hurry. Make a brief appointment with grace before every appointment with man. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 when it is a storm. A micropause is not delay. It is governance. It is the brief bow that places cause before effect. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Do that, and then walk. Antithesis in action. Pause, not push. Inward turn, not outward scramble. Recognition, not reaction. One power first, then the rest finds its level. At work, make the pause your doorknob. Before you open the inbox, hand to heart, or eyes closed if you can, and once, without strain. God's grace is my sufficiency now, not for the day in bulk, but for the next 3 minutes. Then open the mail. Before the meeting, the same inward bow, not to manipulate an outcome, but to withdraw power from the anxieties and personalities that would claim to govern the room. A soft answer turneth away wrath, and it is grace that gives the soft answer, not policy. I have watched a foreman who had been bracing for a conflict breathe this sentence once in the hallway, enter, and find that the loudest voice spoke differently than expected or did not show. Better timing, gentler words. Unforced solutions. These are quiet proofs. They are the signs following. When labor feels like grinding gears, stop the wheel for 20 seconds. Set the tool down. Take the hand off the keyboard. Smile just enough to inform the body that we are not in a fist fight. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Then take the next sensible step, one step, and let the step after that appear. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. You will discover that order arrives not as a plan hurled at the day, but as a stream that carries you without tearing you. The calendar begins to reflect guidance rather than guilt. A call you intended to force waits an hour, and in that hour the email you needed arrives. A task that looked urgent falls off because it never belonged to you. This is not negligence. It is the visible arranging itself around reliance. In matters of health, fear loves a flurry. A sensation, a headline, a memory. Suddenly the heart is running ahead of you. Do not chase it. First, smile at the waves. Breathe once or twice as if drawing from a deeper well. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Then take the sensible steps love requires, but take them without the drumbeat of dread. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Rest becomes consent, not collapse. A glass of water, a call that needs to be made, a walk in the air, a visit kept or postponed. Let them be done in peace. Fear is not a power. Its only power is what you loan it. Withdraw the loan. At home, turn doorways into sanctuaries. Before you enter the child's room to speak about the undone homework, a micro pause at the jam. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Then enter with gentleness that is not weakness but government. Before you answer your spouse in the heat of a misunderstanding, let the 10 seconds do their quiet surgery. God's grace is my sufficiency now. You will hear your own tone alter of itself. The sentence becomes softer. The timing lessens the sting. And if nothing changes outwardly, something has changed where it matters. You did not bow to a second power. Let grace order the hours. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Try it for a week and watch the choreography. Traffic lights that would have trapped you are green. A cancellation makes room for what truly belongs. A door you had not seen opens because you were not battering the one in front of you. From grinding to guided, that is the motion. We no longer work for a living. The living comes by grace, and we consent to be instruments rather than engines. If I had not watched a nurse in Brisbane find that her most difficult patient slept through the hour after she paused at the chart with one whispered line, or a carpenter in Galway discover that the joint that would not meet came together after he set down the plane and bowed, I would speak more cautiously. But I have watched it is so. Make the micro pause your way of pray without ceasing. Little turnings, short acknowledgments. Your days become studded with small obediences. Live from the invisible first. Let the visible arrange itself around that reliance. There is only one power. Keep to the one sentence. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Say it once, mean it once, act from it, and let the unforced rhythms of grace reveal themselves as order, as right words, as timely help. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Walk, then lightly, while the one you acknowledged governs the path beneath your feet. Now let the cup be shared without display. Service, in this way, is silence. Do not teach this to your neighbor. Do not correct your spouse. Do not quote to the trembling child. Practice it for them, quietly, while your lips are closed and your heart is open. Pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. The open reward is not applause. It is a softening in the very air around them. Your quiet realization can lessen fear's weather in another without a word. When you are with one who is afraid, refuse to argue the fear away. We are not apologists for spirit. We are witnesses to turn within. Acknowledge gently and impersonally there is only one power. Then hold them not by the shoulders, not by the mind, but in the light of a single living sentence. God's grace is their sufficiency now, not will be. Now, say it once within and let it stand like a lamp on a table. You need not stare at the lamp. You need not explain the lamp. Light does what light does. Withdraw collective assent from fear. Fear is a universal hypnosis. It circulates like weather. Do not join it with pity or with fiery speeches. Smile unseen if you must, and quietly say within, thou hast no power. Not as defiance to the person, not as scorn toward their suffering, but as fidelity to one power. Be still and know that I am God. Be still in their midst. Know for them if they cannot yet know for themselves. This is not taking over their life. It is giving their life back to the government of grace. Keep the boundary of humility. We do not direct outcomes. We consent to presence. We do not will changes. We witness the one who changeth not. The government shall be upon his shoulder. Place the matter there. Do not cast your psychology upon your friend. Do not try to rearrange their feelings by mental effort. Rest your awareness in the sentence and let the sentence do the lifting. God's grace is their sufficiency now. If tears continue, sit beside them as one who is not afraid of tears. If words are needed, let them come as a soft answer. If no words are needed, let no words come. Tenderness increases. Arguments decrease. You will see this in the ordinary places. In a waiting room where anxious eyes pace the floor, you become the quiet chair in the corner. No pamphlet in hand, no advice on your tongue, only a steady inner nod toward the invisible. God's grace is their sufficiency now. In a meeting where voices rise, do not take sides within. Take sanctuary within. Withdraw your inner vote from the panic in the room. Hold to one power. You will discover pauses appearing where there were none. Peacemaking sentences arriving from unexpected mouths. Blessed are the peacemakers, and often they make peace without speaking. If I had not watched a family supper turn from brittle to blessed because one person, mid-meal, set the fork down for 10 seconds and returned to the mantra for all, I would be more cautious. If I had not seen a nurse step into a fevered room with this sentence glowing quietly in the heart and find that, without speeches, the patient's breathing eased, I would hedge my words. But I have watched all over this world. I have watched. One with God proves to be a majority, not because one overpowers, but because one power is recognized. Let this be your practice. Whenever another storm touches you, do not mirror the wind. Become the calm in which the wind forgets itself. Silently affirm their sufficiency in God and relinquish every second power. Hold them for a moment or for a minute in that steady light. Then, if love moves you to act, act. If love moves you to speak, speak. If love moves you to be still, be still. Bear ye one another's burdens, not by taking them into your body, but by refusing to lend them power in your consciousness. You will find that burdens lighten by being seen in the light, not by being gripped in the hand. This is service without debate. This is help without intrusion. This is the ministry of presence that the Master modeled when he stood in a boat and said to the elements, "Peace, be still." Let that same peace be the climate you carry so that others may breathe in it without ever knowing why their shoulders just dropped. Say nothing if nothing is needed. Smile barely and keep to the sentence for them once. God's grace is their sufficiency now. Then let grace, not you, do the work. Let us make a simple vow, light, clean, and firm. For 7 days, give grace a clear appointment. 10 minutes each day. The same quiet corner if you can, the same little bell if you have one, the same hour if wisdom permits. No argument, no embroidery. One mantra held in silence as your single thread. God's grace is my sufficiency now, not tomorrow. Now, not in emergencies only, daily. This container is not a cage. It is a chalice. It allows grace, not struggle, to do the work. My grace is sufficient for thee. Let the sentence be both your altar and your answer. Safeguards are simple. Choose gentleness over heroics. Do not attempt an hour. Keep the 10. Do not stack vows like bricks. Keep the 1. If a day slips away, do not fine yourself with guilt or make up 20 minutes tomorrow. Begin now. Always begin now, fresh, without penance. His mercies are new every morning. This is not willpower training. This is reliance practice. Your faithfulness is measured not by length, but by return. Return to the chair. Return to the breath. Return to the line. From then on, it isn't difficult. It is faithful. Add one small arrow to the quiver. A midday 60-second return when storms rise. When the email lashes, when the headline rattles, when the body starts its old drum, stop. 1 minute. Eyes open if needed. One gentle breath with the sentence married to it. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Smile, Bailey. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Then take the next right step, not the next 10. This 60 seconds is not a delay. It is governance. It is the transfer of jurisdiction from the court of effects to the kingdom that is within. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and paths straighten that would have tangled under your pushing. For the 7 days, observe without boasting. Watch for the quiet rearrangements, lighter shoulders at noon, kinder speech at 5, a pocket of unexplainable ease in the midst of a task. Let your life be the sermon. Let your light so shine before men. And at the same time, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. No trumpets, no testimonies in the marketplace of attention. If someone says, you seem different, bless them within and keep your secret. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Our healing works are the signs following. We do not chase them, and we do not advertise them. By their fruits ye shall know them. Leave the naming of fruits to others, and the growing of fruits to God. All week, remember the rule we discovered. There is only one power. Fear is a weather, not a law. Withdraw your inner vote from its elections. Thou hast no power. You may whisper within not to insult appearances, but to refuse a second cause. You will find that anxiety loosens not by wrestling, but by being unfed. Relief comes as gift, not wage. Where struggle once tightened the jaw, sufficiency softens it. Where haste once ruled the calendar, order appears without edict. I would not speak so if I had not watched 7 days become a turning in many lives. But I have watched one with God proves to be a majority, because one power recognized governs the field. Now a benediction. Not many words, just the blessing that belongs to those who consent to be carried. The presence of the gentle Christ is sufficient to calm the storms of life. Peace, be still. To the waves within and without, peace, be still. To the mind that wants a map, peace, be still. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Abide these 7 days. Observe without grasping. Smile at the waves. Keep the one sentence near at hand and near at heart. God's grace is my sufficiency now. Walk quietly. React only to the Spirit. Live through the invisible. And let grace, not you, speak for itself